Hi there. Well, I'm hopping on for part 3 of the top 5 things church leaders do to kill growth. And again, I know this isn't intentional, but I'm speaking from over 25 years serving as the church attorney for any number of churches, denominations, independent churches, churches that are part of larger organizations, etc. So, jumping right in, I share with you the number one reason, which was ignoring critical governance matters. That really is the core to internal operations for churches and every other kind of tax-exempt organization. The second thing I shared was operating like a mom and pop shop, right? Not having internal systems, not having protocols, not having written SOPs, not really having clarity on operations, right? Which makes it impossible to grow and develop volunteers and other leaders. Third thing I want to talk about this morning is ignoring technology. Right? I definitely understand that, the church doesn't, I always say, while there's a business side of church, I don't consider church a business. I think the church is the bride of Christ, ultimately, the capital C church. And the church here on earth is a place for growing believers and sharing the gospel, right? But the business side of church is real, and these operational things definitely can positively or negatively impact the mission. So the top 3 reason that I'm talking about today is failing to pay attention to technology. So when I say technology, I'm gonna definitely speak specifically about AI and other tools. But sometimes the church can have the perception or the knee-jerk reaction that technology is bad. And clearly there can be bad uses of technology, right? Whether that's the phones that people have in their hands or, television or any kinds of technology that is around today. The overuse of gaming, there's all kinds of things. But what we saw during COVID is that churches who were prepared, who were already streaming, for example, it was just easier for them to continue using the technology that they had already been using. Churches that had ways of receiving tithes and offerings and giving during COVID times, when that sudden shift happened, they were just ready. And they were often less negatively impacted by that change because they were just already making use of technology. So whether we're talking AI, whether we're talking your selection of streaming for your services, whether we are talking use of technology in developing some of those systems that are so critical, whether we are talking about your use of social media and the different platforms, ignoring technology sometimes sends the message, especially to maybe younger and maybe even more savvy or business-minded people who might want to be a part of your church that maybe you aren't inviting them in, right? So not using technology is not only making things less efficient for you as a church, it's also sending a message to maybe the population that you would want to grow in your church, that you haven't really created a space for them. So that's the third way that inadvertently churches send a message, or operate in a way that stunts their growth. So I hope that you will watch the rest of the series, and also subscribe, and consider this my invitation to you to join into my upcoming summit, where we'll really be able to spend more time together and get into the nitty-gritty of things that cause growth. Bye.